I was up at 4 in the morning. I don't know, I just woke up. Couldn't get back to sleep. Decided to wait outside my front door for the rest of the morning until the Phi craft arrived. I had to pee badly, but I didn't want to miss them. I was so excited. I went against the wall of my house. But after they landed, I walked them to my door and let them in. They sat down on the couch as usual. I sat opposite them and we just stared at each other. I didn't want to rush things like I did last week. I'd let them decide when we would begin. So after a minute or so, I felt the first tickle of their thoughts in my head. It was a question. What do you want to know? My God, amazing! Here were representatives of a race that had been observing my planet for thousands of years. They must know everything, and I just had to ask to find out. There's so much history, so many mysteries. It took me a moment to sort out which question I wanted to ask first.
What did you ask? Did you ask about, like, the Bible stuff?
What?
You know, Abraham, Moses, Jesus, those guys.
Why would I want to ask them about that?
Why would you... Oh, never mind.
The first question I asked was about the Tunguska blast.
The what?
The Tunguska blast. On June 30th in 1908, there was a huge explosion over central Siberia. It had the force of a nuclear bomb. Of course, in 1908, there were no such things as nuclear bombs. Leveled all the trees in the forest within a 20-mile radius. Wiped out a herd of reindeer. It didn't leave a crater, so it couldn't have been a meteor. Scientists think it might have been a small comet that exploded in the atmosphere, but nobody really has any definite proof of anything. Turns out it was a chunk of antimatter. Yeah, how about that? When it encountered regular matter in our atmosphere, it blew up. I've been fascinated by that event for years. I guess we were lucky it landed where it did. The thing could have taken out a whole city. The Phi told me that Mars was once bombarded by a whole shower of antimatter meteors, blew away most of its atmosphere, left it a desolate planet.
Gee, that's really fascinating, Dicky. Did you ask him about any other big explosions?
No, but I asked him about Bigfoot.
Bigfoot? Now that's kind of interesting.
It's a humanoid. Its closest relative was Gigantopithecus. Fossils of the beast have been found in Central Asia. Only our Bigfoot evolved into a much more intelligent critter. It crossed over the Bering Strait land bridge along with humans, then spread across the North American continent.
Well, how come we can't find them if they're everywhere?
Because they're smart. They know how to stay out of our way, and they don't leave any traces of themselves because they bury their dead. Oh, and I found out about Atlantis.
Atlantis? Fuck. So it's no myth at all, huh?
A myth? Not at all. I asked the Phi about the location of this fabled civilization and what the hell happened to it.
That's a good question.
The Phi told me that Atlantis was not so much a place as a time. A time of advanced knowledge in mathematics, astronomy, chemistry, and technology. It was a culture that developed technologies that wouldn't be rediscovered for thousands of years. This ancient civilization was actually a federation of kingdoms that predated recorded history. These kingdoms were spread out across the earth and were connected by well-established trade routes that enabled them to share and build upon each other's knowledge. They were separate kingdoms, but shared a common language. This confederacy was called Atlantis. They all identified themselves as Atlanteans. They were a highly advanced civilization. Their scientific achievements surpassed our own. They possessed a source of power we have yet to discover, and they flew. My God, over 11,000 years ago, mankind flew through the skies.
What happened to it all?
To what?
Atlantis. What happened to it?
That's what I'd like to know. The Phi suddenly ended their conversation with me and said they'd return next week.
Damn it.